What's going on, everyone? Welcome. Thank you. Tonight I'm rocking the Khazad-dûm shirt. The miners of Khazad-dûm. Gotta rock my boys. Especially with what they're doing to them in the Rings of Power series. Can't be letting my boys be trashed like that. You know what? To be fair, actually, the show doesn't do the dwarves too bad. I would actually argue that some of the Hobbit stuff can make the dwarves a bit silly, a little bit too silly at times. Don't remind me about the barrel sequence. I think in the second film, when they're all in those big barrels and they're all fighting and stuff. Yeah. What is going on, everyone? Great to see y'all. Hello. It's so funny. I've been working on a paper all day, and so I have just been sitting right here in front of this screen, and I was like, oh my God, I've got to stream tonight as I'm like writing this paper. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. Don't worry, I've got plenty to talk about. We've got some chef's kiss topics on the on tonight's show, and I got my monster with me too, because I was like, I'm gonna need to break out one of these bad Larrys because what I'll most likely do is I'll do our stream tonight, and then right after I'll go scarf down some food and then get right back to this paper. Because if I can finish this paper, it's due Thursday, but if I can finish it today, boys, my whole week is just gonna be clear, so I can actually like study and not have to worry about a paper or anything. So that will be dope. But let's see who's here. Let's say hi to y'all as everyone is starting to kind of filter in, and then we'll get started with some of our topics. But already we've got Paul and Jaden. What's going on, guys? Legion of Comics. Yeah, brother. I know you have your stream tonight. I'm sorry that we kind of coincide with those, but have a great stream tonight, man, and I hope it's a fun one. Thank you for stopping by and dropping a like. Roman of the Empire, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Josh, my good friend Josh. Hey, what happened with Comics Aficionados this past Saturday? I didn't get to watch the whole thing. I only caught like a snippet of it, but it looked quite interesting, to say the least. We've got Rudy. What's going on, dude? Jay the Deep Minded. Hello. Who else? Jared from Comics League. What's up, brother? Smile a while for me. Hello. And Dr. Rachel Lindberg. Zaxx. The man himself. The celebrity. We have a celebrity in our midst, guys. Well, yeah. So I have plenty of things, like I said, that we're going to talk about. And guess what? I'm bringing it back. It's been a while. It has been a while, but I figured I've wanted to go over this story for a long time now, and I figured if we have some time, oh no, Josh, don't tell me that. Now I have to go watch it right after this. Yeah, right after we go over some of our topics through like. We're talking Viggo Mortensen has an incredible interview about Aragorn. We're going to talk about some of the Rings of Power, like overall things that we've been hearing. And then I also wanted to see if we have time tonight to go over Stan Lee and I believe, let me see here, John Bushima, that's correct. So I wanted to go over Stan Lee and John Bushima's Silver Surfer Judgment Day. I'll go over it again once we crack open the book, but this is a graphic novel that was produced in 1988, and this is the first printing, but if you guys will notice, already, it's not like any other comic. This was the first comic that was printed in full page format, so like full spread, spread your legs, spread your pages, no. But it was a full spread of like just a splash page, and that was every single page in the graphic novel. So I figured we could go over that tonight because these are just works of art. They're absolutely gorgeous. And I love the story. The story is super heartbreaking. And, of course, it's Silver Surfer. He's one of the best characters in Marvel, but he's got a tragic history. He's got a tragic story. Josh, why was Aficionado so bad the other day? What happened? Hello, Ash. Good to see you here as well. So, I'm writing this paper right now that basically it's for my economics class. Woo, econ. I've never been an economics guy. I didn't even know what it entailed really. But for those of you who may not know or who know way more about it than I do probably, it's almost kind of like a social science. So you're learning about human behavior in the context of societal trends, you know what I mean? So economic growth with supply and demand, or elastic or inelastic products or goods, things like that, where you're determining markets, or you're analyzing markets and determining what to do based off of your analysis. It's really interesting, and there are some things that kind of get lost within the grand scheme of it all, when I'm looking at the big picture, right? Because you have macroeconomics and then microeconomics, and your macro are government decisions, big corporate or government decisions, like what we were seeing happen with COOF, stuff that was coming down from leading people in their field, and it was trickling down to the rest of the world. That's macroeconomics, whereas micro is determining and analyzing individual what's the word I'm looking for? Habits, trends. So it's pretty interesting. Like I said, I've been enjoying it. There are some things that get lost in translation. But all that being said, I'm writing a paper for my economics class, and what I'm studying and what I'm looking over is what happened with the fitness industry, and how, looking at the economics between the fitness industry prior to COOF and then after. Has it resurfaced? Has it gotten back up to where its members are finally back in the gym, or have people completely forgotten about the gym and gone to another good or service, such as the Peloton, or do they have home gyms now? I know a couple of my friends bought brand new home gyms, where they just had an excess in money and they just bought barbells and dumbbells and plates and squat racks and stuff, and now they just work out from home. So I don't know. Let's see. Oh yeah, with the nude ladies. Look at this full spread, if you can catch my drift. It was the new girl. She kept jumping in over every... Oh no. She'd cut someone off and say, I need to defend myself. Oh my lord. Oh, Josh, please tell me that live stream is still up and that Wes didn't take that down. I really need to go watch this now. JT Gunn, what's going on, brother? Hey, lurk away, my friend. Lurk away. Have a great night. Vida Fatal J, been laughing about that for 2 days. Oh, Fatal J had a video that he did. I mean, Fatal J is the bomb. I love his takes, and he's a really cool dude. I actually met him in Texas too, man. So yeah, that is kind of what I am looking at for this paper. I'm going to be determining too, what the fitness industry's role was during COOF, and how that affected people on a mental, physical, spiritual, emotional level. Because can you guys imagine when we start looking at the statistics, when we start looking at data a decade from now, right? Or probably 2030, I expect hard data coming out with mental illness, or anxiety levels, or depression, or like social anxiety or social angst, there are going to be so many resources and studies done about what happened in those 2 years. And then my thesis, or like the way that I'm going to defend this whole paper, like at the bottom, is going to be, regardless of whether they closed gyms or people got Pelotons or people bought home gyms or whatever, the wrong thing to do was to close down gyms. That, because it completely effed with everyone's mental health, physical health. Like I was looking up studies about obesity and seeing that like 1 out of every 10 person who was a regular, active, fit person was now not. 1 out of 10 people who like religiously went to the gym and had an active schedule after those 2 years of lockdown just said, nope, I'm out. I'm not doing this anymore. So like, I don't know. I think that's it's not a big number. It's not a huge, like a massive jump or anything, but it is still pretty significant to where I'm like, damn, that is something that's interesting. So, yeah, JT works out from home. Exactly, man. I think a lot of people have started doing that. Home gyms can be great, but you need to make sure you have the right. Exactly. And then there's also the social pressure of like being in a gym, right? Of like having the pressure of like seeing another girl or guy who's like lifting the same weight or on the cardio equipment, or like who's more fit or who's not. Like I think a lot of people, especially when I was doing personal training back before the Marine Corps, like so many of my clients that were female, even male clients, I would say too, but they would come to me and they'd be like, hey, the reason why I hired you isn't just because like, you know, I need you to help me lose weight. It's because I don't feel comfortable in the gym. You know what I mean? Like I don't necessarily feel comfortable in this area or in this field because like, I don't know, I just, there's that social pressure of being around people there. So I can understand that, but yeah, Zaxx says no choice really because, well, you know, Canada, eh? Oh, that sucks, man. I'm sorry. Yeah. You had to put all your money there and like, I understand. So she would need to defend herself, but nobody said anything to her about her. Oh, I can't, dude. I can't. Who decided to have whose decision was that to like say, yeah, she'll be a great fit. Yeah, let's have her on. Oh man. Okay, I'll have to check out the clip. Zaxx, you had me at hard. You had me at MVP-ness, my friend. We're already getting a lot of studies published on those topics in psych. Oh yeah. Okay. Dr. Rachel, you have to post some of those and let me know what you find, because that stuff is so fascinating to me. And like, I know that once we start seeing like hard data, it's going to be shocking, you know. Mental health was bad. Yeah, Ash. Josh, what's a gym? Oh, I think everyone put on the, you know, freshman 15, the COOF 15. Yeah, and that's another study that I'm finding. Cajun is like you're saying, it's actually probably better for you to train and work out because your actual immune system is like helping you through that. So as opposed to not training and then your immune system getting really, you know, kind of worn down. 300 Mirrors says, hello, Max. Just now catching up. Interesting subject. If you need more insight on the health aspect, I have plenty. Oh, great. Thank you, 300. I appreciate that. Great to see you here as always. Releasing stats for suicide attempts. Oh, wow. Yeah, they kept being taken off the internet. Yeah, see, that's sketchy. I don't like that one bit. That sucks. Yeah, I was a personal trainer. If you guys didn't know, right before I was in the Marine Corps, I was doing personal training at like 24-hour fitness. So, I mean, it wasn't like the best job in the world, but it was something. I would probably do that before I'd like, worst case scenario, I don't have a job or something. I would probably go back to my personal training days. than like doing Uber Eats, because I think you guys knew at one point I was doing Uber Eats just to like keep my head above water. So like, yeah, I would most likely probably go back to personal training, even though it takes like everything out of you, because you're like constantly, you have to like, if you're not an extrovert, you're constantly around people, so it just kind of drains you of energy. But so all that being said, that's the paper I'm writing about. After this long-winded explanation, that's the paper I'm writing. Hopefully should get that done tonight right after our stream, and then yeah. But if you guys have noticed too, I haven't even released my Rings of Power episode 5 review, and I'll be completely honest, it's been hard to get through this one. It's almost like each episode gets more difficult to get through, because now it's just a chore, you know, like it continues to exist, and it's so frustrating. But you know, and of course people are gonna come on here and go, well, if you don't like it, don't watch it, which is the most like, it's the dumbest excuse for someone who is actually utilizing their YouTube page and creating videos for other people so that they don't actually have to watch this. You know what I mean? So like for me, these videos that I've been doing on these Lord of the Rings reviews have been fantastic for retention, for growth, for views, for interaction. Like I'm meeting tons of new people. And so for that reason, I really enjoy doing the reviews. I loathe having to watch the actual episode, but I know that from that we'll produce something great. But this episode, holy crap, has just been a slog to get through, an absolute slog. So with all that being said, I have some thoughts overall about Rings of Power that I wanted to share with you guys, because I'm sure y'all can resonate. But it's stuff that, like, I don't know, is just so overall. It's not just like, oh, well, episode 5, did you see that dumb thing about, like, that? Like, yeah, there's a lot of dumb stuff in that episode. But there are so many things that I'm starting to notice about the show as a whole that it's really starting to bug me and really get on my nerves. And so I think that's why each episode is, like, more, like, it's more of a struggle each time. You know what I mean? So... but yeah, yeah, working well for G4 Cajun. That's right. Completely threw off my routine. Oh my gosh, Josh, that was another thing, dude, is like, the routine of most people. And I was actually looking at a study where it said that, I think it was 30% of people who had a routine. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. 'Cause, yeah, this was just, it was kind of disheartening, you know? Okay, here we go. I'll show it to you guys real quick. So if you guys can see this, it says activity levels prior to versus during related shutdowns. 50% of people were less active after shutdowns than prior to. 31% were about the same, and then 19% were more active. Hey, fucking kudos to the 19% of people who are more active, because that was probably the only thing keeping them sane, you know what I mean? But that 19%, and then here's where I got that statistic where it said 1 out of 10 people who haven't kept up their routine admit they've stopped exercising just completely altogether, you know? If you guys want to find any of this information, this is from ihrsa.org. So this is the Global Health and Fitness Association. But yeah, so it basically just talks about how the fitness industry and gyms in general are they're still feeling the negative impact of what happened with shutdowns. And I don't blame them. Like, look at these stats right here. By the end of 2020, so if we look at lockdowns happen in March 2020, right? By April of 2020, and it says here, by April, 300 million Americans were without access to a fitness center. And then by the end of 2020, so a few months later, it was reported that 17% of clubs permanently closed. Revenue fell by 58% relative to 2019 sales. And 44% of the fitness industry workforce lost jobs. And then, like, when you actually look at that, here is another article that talked about it. But it basically said its industry's revenue dropped 52%. So the loss was $29.2 billion in revenue. And then this one also gave us a percentage of people. It was 47% of jobs were lost in the industry. So kind of interesting stuff. So that's what I'm doing my paper on right now, and that is what I'll be like presenting next week. But yeah, just thought I would show you guys what I was looking at, really. Indefinite day off. It was too easy to stay on the couch. Yeah, for real. That's why for me, indoor gyms, I can't do it. There's no way that I can do the indoor gym or not the indoor gym. What am I saying? The in-home gym. I love indoor gyms, but in-home gyms, I would feel like, oh, well, my couch is like right there, or my bed is literally right there. Why would I need to go up? As opposed to going to the gym, it's like a routine. It's an active routine where you're getting your coffee or getting your pre-workout or getting your gym clothes on, getting in the car, listening to music. Like, there's so many things that you can do as a routine to like get to the gym. That for me, it's like, you know, like I said, it's that kind of ritual that I enjoy doing, as opposed to just like, oh, my gym is just right here. Like, I don't know, but that's just me. Josh says, that's why you're the champ. Thank you, sir. Well, that's exactly why I need to get episode 5 review out ASAP. Because like, yeah, man, what I try and do with the reviews is like give you guys a play-by-play. Oh yeah, 300. That's closed gyms and yet fast food stayed open. Where's the sense in that, right? I don't know. But yeah, so the thing when it comes to the reviews is that I try and do the play-by-play so that if you guys aren't watching it, which most of you I would assume are not, you guys can get an understanding of what happened or what it is in a span of 15-20 minutes as opposed to an hour and 10 minutes. Like, and then if you guys speed up my video to 2 times speed or whatever, we're now talking 10 minutes, you know what I mean? And that's really what a lot of these episodes can like be boiled down to, especially episode 5, because everyone starts off and ends up in the same place they left off in the last episode. So there's no progression whatsoever. There's no character progression. There's no story progression. There's no location progression. Like, everything is just stagnant. So that's why it's taking me so long to do this one, is because I'm just like, what? And that's the other thing too. Things happen. Like, things are just happening, and there's like cuts to different, you know, you go from Numenor to Linden to Khazad-dûm to, you know, the Southlands. You go like all over the place to finding the evil Harfoots, which I'm convinced that they are cannibals and that they are the evil in this show. But you're seeing all these different like people and characters and locations, and you're just like, I don't care. And when you see all this stuff, you're also wondering in your head, so with all that stuff happening, what am I getting from the show? And you really don't get a lot. So out of an hour, and after seeing so much stuff in one episode happen, you get to the end of it and you're like, wait, what did I come away with? What new knowledge do I have? And there's really not a lot. And I noticed that for most of the episodes, but... Oh, cool, Smile. I'm really glad to hear that. For those of us who don't watch it and really, really appreciate the overview of the episodes when we have siblings who think it's pretty decent. Yeah. That, So I was actually, it's funny that you bring that up, Smile, because I was talking to a friend of mine and his fiance was talking to me and she was like, oh, so you're like a Lord of the Rings fan? And I go, yeah, I'm a little bit more than that. Like it's a bit much. I have a sword. Like I've read all the books. Like I'm a nerd for sure. And she's like, oh my God, so you must be like loving the Rings of Power series, right? And I was just like, hold on. Wait, for dramatic effect. No, not necessarily. And yeah, I had to be completely honest, and I was like, I think it's like a total bastardization. And we had this conversation, and she's a normie when it comes to Lord of the Rings. But one of the things that I found interesting is that Amazon has the normie audience right where they want them, because she was saying like, oh my God, but then they like mentioned Mithril, and I was like, I know Mithril, and I was like, oh my God, they've done it. They have effectively done exactly what they've set out to do, which is adhere to the normie audience, because when people hear Mithril, they go, oh, Mithril, I remember Mithril from the movies. Whoa. And then they do this like whole like thing. And then she also was saying how Aragorn, she was like, and then like, you know, the one guy is like Aragorn because he's like the king of the Southlands. Just how Aragorn was like king of Gondor. And I was like, I had to tell her, I was like, I'm sorry, but like, that's Sauron. And she was like, no, that's not, I don't think that's right. And I was like, it's going to be Sauron. And they're making him out to be like Aragorn so that people like him. And then they're going to subvert your expectations and say that he's actually Sauron. So I kind of had to burst the bubble, and I felt really bad. I felt like an asshole a bit. But at the same time, like, Amazon is being so disingenuous when they make this series, and they put all these stupid little member berries in there to go, oh, Mithril, oh, like Aragorn. And what people don't actually realize is, like, it's all smoke and mirrors. This isn't talented work. It's crafty, it's clever, but it's not wisdom, it's not knowledge, it's not creativity, it's not talent. And what's interesting is that in episode 4, and this sums up the entire show, episode 4, there's a line that Ar-Pharazôn says to his son, and he says something along the lines of, I would prefer you be wise than clever, or something stupid like that, right? And the table has more acting range than Morfydd Clark. Zaxx, I would hire that table as Galadriel before I hired Morfydd Clark. Exactly. And yeah, so the oh, thank you, Josh. I'm glad my member berry impersonations are on point. And yeah, like that. So that is what Amazon is essentially doing. They are putting in all this stuff to seem wise, and yet they're only being clever, which is in their minds, they think that cleverness is less than wisdom, right? Because that's how they wrote that line. When in all actuality, like, Amazon and the showrunners are trying to be more clever by being like, well, if we can't utilize this aspect of the Silmarillion, we'll just put some member berries in there and really get the fans like excited. You know what I mean? It's manipulative. But it's so much more than like manipulative too. It's actually manufacturing symptoms of feelings. And I'll get to that in just a second, because we have a super chat from Ruvel Arvida. He says, why is it so difficult to follow the source material in all caps? Dude, Ruvel, I agree, man. It really shouldn't be that difficult, right? But when you also think about it, Amazon is confined to 150 pages at the back of the Return of the King. And so even if they followed those 150 pages to a T, how the hell are they going to make 5 seasons of this thing? They can barely get through one season, and none of it, like in this past episode, they bring up the creation of Mithril. That's completely made up. None of it is a accurate representation or like source from Tolkien's work. They just like made that shit up and were like, yeah, this is how Mithril was like created now. Like, here you go. Brother, I thank you for the $5 super chat. I really appreciate it. But Mr. Arvita, yeah, I agree, man. It is real. You would really think it's not that hard, right? And you know what's funny too is when people talk about the Rings of Power series, they are so I don't want to say defensive, but they are so careful, that's the word I'm looking for, to not upset anyone, right? Because if you look at like all the YouTube channels that do Rings of Power stuff, whether they're talking about like lore or they're talking about the show in general, the ones who were invited to that showing in London, I think it was, all the like shill media YouTube channels and TikTokers and all that stuff, whenever you hear them review the show, I think there's one that I watched that I used to enjoy him a lot, but now his takes are so bland. And even like I can tell that he hates something, and yet he'll put it like he'll say, I'm not really in love with this idea. And I'm like, dude, fucking say it. Just say it. Say that you don't like this thing. Say that you don't like how they bastardized this fucking character. Or say that you don't like the fact that they made up some bullshit excuse of how Mithril was created. You are a lore expert, supposedly, and yet you're just not really feeling it. Like, fucking bullshit, dude. And so I hate when these shills are trying to like be so like walking on eggshells because they don't want to. It takes it takes away all genuine authenticity from them and just puts more money in their pocket, right? Because they can go, well, it wasn't the best creative decision, but I can kind of see where they're going with it. It's like, fucking say what you actually mean, or just don't say anything at all. Because we're here to listen to your authentic takes. And if you don't give us that, then what are we here to do then, you know? And a lot of those like YouTubers are really knowledgeable. And so what they'll end up doing is they'll start saying, actually where this was filmed right by where they could put this on the map of where they were filming for this location. And we're like, who the fuck cares about that? Why don't you start talking about the actual show and the characters and how none of them live up to our ideals of what these characters were written to be or how Tolkien imagined them to be. So that's what's really frustrating for me, is that every time I go on these channels, I expect something better than just them to say, I kind of enjoyed it, or maybe I didn't really. It's this fucking, wishy-washy bullshit that really kind of just aggravates me, because, like I said, it seems very deceitful to your audience. And that's all I'm saying, is like, if you guys are listening to, if you guys listen to me, which you watch my videos, and I'm so thankful for that, and you guys hang out with me on my live streams, you guys know that you are going to get the most authentic take possible. Because I'm not gonna hold back with what I'm saying, and if I do, it's only out of respect to maybe someone that I'm talking to as a guest, or it's out of respect to someone who's in the chat, that I want to actually be tactful in how I say things, but I will still be truthful. You can be tactful and still say what you mean. So, I don't know. Yeah, politicians speak taters, exactly. Taters! Taters, precious. Great name. So yeah, you can tell that a lot of this stuff is manufactured. You can feel like when you guys are watching any of like the big landscape shots, like you'll hear the music swell, and I get so mad because I know what they're trying to do, and they're trying to manufacture a feeling of organic sadness or excitement. But the only way to produce an organic feeling during a movie or a show is by actually creating that feeling, not creating a manufactured rise and excitement with like the music or whatever. Like I have in my notes, the music swell is trying to make you feel something, which is a surefire way to prove that they can't actually organically make you feel something, but have to manufacture making you feel something. So, I fucking hate that. I think it's really, like I said, just weaselly and deceitful to the audience. Daniel Green, but admitted in a video that they signed a non-disparaging contract. No shit, Zaxx. That's actually really interesting. And, well, that makes perfect sense, dude. That makes perfect sense why we're getting those kind of, like, walking on eggshells, like very timid, mild takes from people. Non-Harfoot agreement, says Roman. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, the showrunners are essentially trying to force you into feeling a certain way. And they do this with like the characters of you know, of course, Galadriel. And it often has the opposite effect, where you end up actually hating that character that they're trying to make you like. How funny is that? And kind of how pathetic and sad is that? Where like you can see right through their ruse, and you're actually watching the character that they are trying to force you to like, and you hate them more and more because you're like, I know what you guys are trying to do, and it's not working. So especially with Galadriel, like you can just tell how the writing room was like around their table, and they're like, and then Galadriel dual wields swords and fucking starts like just chopping dudes in half and like taking out ice trolls and all this bullshit, and everyone's just like clapping like, yeah, oh. And to me, I'm just like, okay, you realize people are going to hate that, right? Like, when people actually watch this, they're going to despise your character if she has no character development or actual heart. Because, like, okay, here's another thing. The character development of Galadriel is, maybe they're saying it's just a slow burn, that maybe at the end of the season, she will change her ways and be more humble and accepting and, you know, patient and kind and understanding and like all these things. But until then, we still need to see that she has heart. We still need to see that she has like a soul in there. But we don't get that whatsoever. We don't get a glimmer of hope or a glimmer in her eye of any idea of patience or kindness or understanding. It's, you know, and so that's why a lot of people just dislike this character. She's essentially just a spoiled, nasty child, is what I would say is a lot of her character traits, unfortunately. Yeah, you need to reevaluate your show, says Dr. Rachel. Exactly. But on a positive note, though, I wanted to show you guys this bad boy, because this is pretty rad. Because, I can talk about Rings of Power all day, but I don't want to, I don't want to belabor the point. I think ultimately what happened is that the showrunners and Amazon wanted the IP, the Rings of Power, Lord of the Rings IP. And then they wanted to include scenes that they were just like, I want an elf catching an arrow. I want a female elf riding into battle. I want a trench of orcs running into a tree. I want a wizard-like character surrounded by psychopath, flesh-eating hobbits. And I want allegory throughout the entire thing. What can we do? And then they started to create a story. And that's the bullshit that that makes the show bad. Yes, it's boring. Yes, it's contrived. Yes, it's stupid. But more than anything, it is fake, it's manufactured, and it's essentially a hollow shell of what the IP actually is, what the Legendarium actually is, because they didn't take a story that someone wanted to tell. And like, no one came to Amazon and was like, I have a beautiful story that I really want to tell with Galadriel, but we can only do it if we have the Rings of Power IP or whatever. Like, we have to buy the Lord of the Rings IP. And then they said, okay, let's do it. Instead of having the story first and then create the show around that, they created a fucking dumb show and then just added the IP later to say, hey, well, this will get all the fans back. And that, I think, yeah, exactly, Taters, retroactively constructed. Eric K, the man, what is going on, dude? He says, great show, Max. Thank you, sir. It's always good seeing you, brother. Hope you're having a great night, man. I know you're going to be heading over to Gary's stream pretty soon if he's not already on now, but yes, reverse engineered, another great term. Psychopathic flesh-eating hobbits. Tell us how you really feel about the Harfoots. It would take me days to explain my hatred for the Harfoots. It is unmatched. That's why we get moments that remind us of something from the Lord of the Rings. We get moments, we get Easter eggs, we get member berries. But what is that? That's fucking it's child storytelling. It's children's books. It is seals clapping. That's all it is when we get those, little member berries in there. So anyway, I'll shut my dumb mouth because I need to show you guys this beauty. We need to stop talking about Rings of Power so I can show you the beauty behind Weta Workshop's Elendil 1/6 scale figure. Holy shit. If you guys have not seen this yet, this is one of the most beautiful pieces I have ever seen. 1/6 scale, it's a statue, so it's not a figure. But look at the detail, guys. The dirt on the cape, the dirt on the boots, the chainmail. And then here, check this out. Let's see if we can get a closer look at the glaives, or I guess they're called like the what would you call that? Hand armor? The gloves? I don't know. Josh, you probably should not send the Harfoot Christmas gifts to me. No, I'm sorry, my friend. Probably not the best idea. But yeah, guys, look at this freaking armor, dude. It's like, it makes me want to buy it so bad, but I know I can't. Like look at the detail in the face and the eyes. Like, this is gorgeous, man. This would be a centerpiece to a room. And then here's Elendil, like with Sauron at the last alliance of elves and men. So here's the only thing that I say is a negative. It's a 1/6 scale, and it's not 1/4 scale. If it were 1/4 scale, I would have bought this 2 weeks ago when it first came out, or 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I think. Yes, the gauntlets look amazing, dude. So here's more. Ooh, and he's got Narsil. But yeah, like from the chainmail all the way down to the leather, to the dirt and the rock and everything. Beautifully painted, perfectly sculpted. It looks like it is coming from the film and just out onto the screen, right? So if anyone wants this, it's $550. It's a limited edition, so essentially what will happen is pre-orders end in October, and anyone who has made a pre-order, that will be the edition size. So say 1,000 people make a pre-order for Elendil, there will only be 1,000 Elendils made, and that's it. They will never print any more after that. So that's why it's a limited edition. Hey, If you guys see that StreamYard's link in the chat, or if you guys see the donation, no, I'm kidding. Totally kidding. If I bought this, it would be from my own money. It would not be from stream money. But like I said, if you guys do want this, go to What a Workshop. They have this for pre-order, and then it gives you like the artist, it gives you the dimensions. Yeah. Oh, here's a better picture of the gloves. Just like it's perfect. It's literally perfect. I don't think I've seen a more perfect figure or statue. Like I said, my only thing that I hate about it, or not that I hate, but the thing that I dislike about it is that it's 1/6 scale. Bump those numbers up, baby. As you know, as the ladies would say, make it bigger. But yeah, I mean, we got to make this guy 1/4 scale. Come on, what are we doing? Oh well. Now the next thing I wanted to go over and show you guys was this right here. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen this interview. Let me turn up the sound for you guys so you can hear this, because it's pretty quiet. So hopefully
living in some kind of tower or a tree.
you guys are able to hear it a little bit. But this is an interview with Viggo Mortensen. This was for I think the Fellowship of the Ring. And I don't know, I wasn't able to find the original source. This is just an ASMR channel. So I was trying to find the original source, but I can't. So if anyone is in the chat who knows the original source, please let me know, and I'll link them down below. But this is from a channel called Best Unintentional ASMR, which is funny because like it's an ASMR channel. It's not a Lord of the Rings channel or anything. But I thought this was really interesting because I want to listen to how he speaks about Aragorn and the passion that he brings to the character. It's like so refreshing, and it's truly a light in the darkness. Like when you look at Rings of Power, and we have a couple more articles that I'll look into about like how those interviews were, and if you compare them to the interviews side by side between Viggo Mortensen and like Ismael Cruz Cordova or something, one is extremely genuine and one is solely, of course it's Viggo's, one is solely determined to portray the character as he was meant to be portrayed. And it's very telling how Viggo like depends on his craft, his acting ability, and like how he utilizes that like as this like talented individual. So so this says original video here, but like when I go to the link, for some reason it's not the actual video that, oh, maybe it is. Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Is that
so? Well, thank you for that then, Josh.
I took your costume off and
because yeah, I was not able to find that initially. So this is from, it says Cassava 9. All right, there you go.
it's true.
Well, I didn't have really any time off to speak of, so I think when people saw me, I was usually dressed for work. You'd get accustomed to seeing me out in the woods, a valuable opportunity.
Was it
and taking advantage of the opportunity to explore those rivers and forests and mountains, I would have felt I had wasted my time in a way, that I had lost a valuable opportunity.
Can you guys hear that all right? Because it's pretty quiet on my end. Like I said, it's an ASMR channel, but the creator said, I significantly edited and enhanced the audio and video for better ASMR effect. So hopefully the audio is a little bit more enhanced. So let me know if you guys can hear that or not.
Was it easier to get into your character since you spent such a long time there? And
Probably.
She says, I think the interviewer says, was it easy for you to get back into the character of Aragorn?
For everyone, yeah. You know, I mean, it's not quite the same thing, but it's more like doing a play where you do it for such a long time. But it doesn't matter what role I play, you know, I always like the character I play, you know, or come to understand. And
There it is. I always come to understand the character that I'm playing. That's a very humble thing to say, because what a lot of actors and actresses now, I feel like, what a lot of actors and actresses do currently in modern Hollywood, I feel like, is they take whatever character that they're playing and they don't care to understand what that character has gone through, or the suffering, or the perseverance, or maybe the joy and the passion that that character has, because they are too concerned as the actor or actress to impart their own influence on the character and be like, well, this is just mine now, you know, or I'm going to play the character as me because I'm more important than this character that I'm playing. Whereas like Viggo is saying, I want to try and understand the character from their point of view, which, like I said, I think is extremely humble.
I appreciate the character no matter what the job is.
Love and appreciate the character no matter what the job is, exactly.
And I don't think you can ever stop learning. It's up to you, but if you want to, you can always pick up some kind of information on the way. And in this case, yes, we had a longer time, so I learned more.
He can never stop learning about Aragorn. How cool is that? That you're almost like that you're studying and learning more about your character as you continue filming. I love that.
About the character.
Aragorn is one of the most beloved characters in literature and one of the most beloved heroes. Mm-hmm. Was it daunting to take this part?
That's a big one. So the interviewer basically says Aragorn is one of the most beloved characters, which she's right, in the Lord of the Rings. Was it daunting to play that part? You know, what kind of experience do you have to be called to be able to play that part as this beloved character? Societal pressure is probably weighing down on him to you know, as these purists, as these Tolkien purists, want the best Aragorn that they could possibly imagine. So that is a lot of weight, but yeah.
I hadn't read the book, so I didn't have a preconceived idea of the character, nor a sense that a lot of people might have that idea. But anyway, I mean, I'm more interested in the process of learning about the role and the experience of shooting the movie.
I'm more interested in the experience of learning about the role. This is a classically trained actor who has perfected his craft, who understands the importance of learning about a character and playing it to the best of his ability for the sake of the character that was written by the original author. And we'll get to that in a minute, because he does talk about that, how he kind of says he has to serve two masters, Tolkien and Peter Jackson, and how the two actually meshed well together to create this film.
So I don't think that much about what others' thoughts are about it. I just try to be as faithful to, in this case, you know, I felt like I had two masters. One was Tolkien, one was Peter Jackson. And
he doesn't pay too much attention to whatever people are saying, to the outside world. Now, granted, at this period of time, Twitter probably wasn't a thing, you know, and if it was probably in its infancy. And so it wasn't the cancer that it is now. But Viggo specifically mentioned, I don't care about what other people are saying about me or my character, or, you know, anything about the outside influences of that, because he is more focused on the original intent, which is Tolkien and Peter Jackson, and how they were going to come about creating Aragorn.
And also, you know, my own conscience, as far as doing a good job. It's not different with this than any other, but I
love that he had his own conscience weighing on this to say, I wanted to do a good job with this character. And I mean, granted, every actor wants to do well with the character that they're given. Every actor wants to do well in a role that they are given. But here, it just, I don't know, it feels very, very genuine, very authentic. And you can see that there's a lot of heart in what he says.
Maybe when I read these books, I did recognize the foundation for it is really, a lot of, in a lot of ways, is Nordic sagas and mythology and stories from Scandinavia and Finland and from the rest of Europe and
Even Viggo Mortensen seems to be pretty based in his knowledge of how Tolkien was able to pull from these Nordic sagas and create his own legendarium. Pretty cool.
Medieval poems and things. I recognized that, and that I thought it was a unique opportunity to touch the past in a way,
I love that too, man. Like, is he not just making the best points possible, touching the past, bringing back the past, honoring the past? You know what I mean? Like, these are all really great things that he's mentioning. Josh says, Max, brother, I've got to bounce and take a business call. I'll hop back on afterwards if it doesn't run too long. If I don't make it back in time, I'm glad I got to hang with you. As for Viggo, he's an actor that wants to be an actor. He's not an actor that wants to be a celebrity. Amen, Josh. Thank you for saying that. And I think that's a great point. And yeah, dude, hey, good luck on your business call. Hopefully it doesn't last too long. Maybe I'll see you here in a little bit, but if I don't, all my love, dude. Always great seeing you. So have a good night.
You do know that there's thousands and thousands of fans who love passionately about this book. And
How intimidating is that? This interviewer is grinding him, and she's going, you do know, by the way, that there are thousands of fans that are counting on you to do a good job of bringing Tolkien's work to life, bringing Aragorn to the big screen and doing it justice. Do you understand the weight of that? Like, she is grilling him with these questions. She's not just like giving him softballs and going like, how honored were you to play the first female Aragorn, or like whatever it was that, they're talking about in Rings of Power. Like, they're not lobbing him softballs. Like, she is grilling him about how important it is for Tolkien fans to see this legendarium play out like they want it to. So I actually really do appreciate the interviewer. She's not pulling her punches, and Viggo is just answering them perfectly.
The truth is that you're going to get some negative feedback from them. Are you afraid of that?
No, I mean,
he's so nonchalant. She goes, "Are you afraid of getting like negative feedback?" And he goes, Nah, I'm good. And yet that's all we hear about in all these other interviews, right? With Rings of Power, they've got articles and videos and training sessions on saying, here's how you deal with negative criticism, and here's how you deal with racist backlash, and here's how you deal with all the trolls that are going to come attack you, and all this bullshit. And yet this woman is telling him how thousands of people are weighing on him to do a good job in this role, and that he's probably most likely going to get backlash because there are people that didn't like his portrayal. What a surprise, because there are people on this earth who don't love everything, and that's okay. That's totally fine. And yet when she asks him, are you afraid of backlash? He goes, nah. How much more based can you get? I love his takes on this.
I particularly like the poetry and the language of the books, and I do wish we could have had more of that in the film. But, that being said, I don't think we couldn't have put everything in the movie. It's just impossible. It would have been, 20 hours long. But I do think that the spirit of the books and of our experience shooting the movie is there on screen,
The experience and the heart and the soul of the books were in the movie. I for me personally, agree wholeheartedly that I felt that within the original trilogy, the only trilogy about Lord of the Rings. I think that's kind of why people understand it as one of the best trilogies of all time, because it did such a great job of bringing those themes, of bringing the soul and heart and passion behind the books and adapting that for film. Not fanficking it for film, but adapting it for film. And I think those are two completely different things. So again, he's making really good points.
No, it's not this neat little clean fairy tale. It's difficult to watch at times, and I think that it's messy and it's rough and it's raw, because everybody was committed to doing it and playing, no matter how fantastical the situation was, everybody played it for real, you know, in a sense, although more in a visual way than with words. I think it's like Shakespeare. Shakespeare can be very dull, you know, or if people play it for real and try and play it as if it's never been seen, then it can affect you. You can identify with it as a viewer, hopefully. And I think the case here is that these characters feel like they come right out of the book.
That's so rad. He basically talks about, like, from what I'm hearing him say, is that when you take something that is more like Old English, where it's kind of difficult to understand, or you have language that is difficult to comprehend because it's written differently, or it's not more modern or whatnot, the people who play to those same, like, you know, those same poems and that same literature, if they put everything that they can behind that performance and they really give it their all and their heart and their soul, and they're in it for the love of the craft or the love of the original, you know, writings, then that's going to portray that same love on the screen. And people will be able, he says, people will be able to identify with that. And that's the great thing. Everyone can identify with good performances, but nobody can identify with wooden, hollow, shallow, manufactured bullshit. People don't identify with that. And if they do, then it just, you know, proves that their existence is one of that same type of quality. And that's sad and that's unfortunate. But when you see performances that are more authentic and have more passion behind them and are very crafted very well, like Viggo's saying here, people will be able to identify with that no matter what you look like, no matter what your background is, no matter what your culture is. People are going to be able to identify with that.
And come right out of the, you know, the misty past that Tolkien was trying to bring alive for readers of the 20th century. Hopefully Peter Jackson does that now for movie viewers. They feel like there's something real there. There's some connection, even if they don't realize it consciously, with our universal mythical past, you know.
You had to learn all sorts of different skills in order to play Aragorn. What was the trickiest part?
I don't know. Every day presented a new challenge, you know, whether it was the weather or whether it was, you know, maybe the horse is sick or, you know, maybe you're injured or somebody is or somebody's not doing well.
Yeah, considering that he broke his toe and chipped his tooth on the set, I'd say that, you know, there were some injuries, some pretty significant injuries. But, yeah, I think that's pretty much, for the most part, that is the interview. And I wanted to kind of show you guys that. He goes on to talk more about the process. But, yeah, I don't know. Something about that just really spoke to me. I really enjoyed what he had to say. And I thought I would share it with you guys. Let me turn this down. But yeah, it's a great interview. I would encourage you guys to go watch it. I think it definitely portrays a perfect envisionment of why we got such a great Aragorn on the screen and why Viggo Mortensen took it so seriously and why he was so passionate about it and why we're kind of lacking that now. Because the next thing I wanted to go over, and we'll check this out, is now let's juxtapose the last interview that we saw with Aragorn, with Viggo Mortensen. Let's juxtapose that with what Ismael Cruz Cordova says. And I'll turn this off one more time so you guys can hear this guy kind of talk.
As I knew that this was going to happen. Specifically, I mean, I'm a fan, so a lot of reasons, but one of them is I knew that this was going to happen.
So he says, I knew that this was going to happen. This is in relation to fan backlash and the quote unquote like toxic fandom that was going to attack him on social media. And so he's talking about how he saw it happening and how, you know, he was prepared for it or whatever. But this is kind of what he says after that.
I would say it, and I mean, I even got a few rejections to the role, and I still kept going for it because I knew that there was going to be disruption. And in my career, my mission has been that occupy these places, put
my mission has been disruption. Let's hear that one more time.
Disruption. And in my career, my mission has been that occupy these places, put myself in that, and the front lines, be the image of the thing. I have no problem doing that, so I did expect this.
He says, my mission has been to occupy these spaces and create disruption. How fucking arrogant is that? What kind of person wants to just take up space, as they would say, create new space for himself to occupy, and then just to disrupt, just for the sake of disrupting? Juxtapose that with the interview that we just saw with Viggo Mortensen, talking about respecting, talking about learning about the character, experiencing the character, trying to serve Tolkien and Jackson and bringing this character to the thousands of fans who want to see this well done. Juxtapose these two interviews and you get a narcissistic, egotistical asshat, for lack of a better term, and you have a respectful, honorable, noble man who is interested in nothing other than his craft and respecting the past and everything that came before it, because he knows that that is what his job is, that is what his talent is, that is what his craft is in. And he is a master in that. And that's why Viggo Mortensen's portrayal of Aragorn will forever live on. Ismael Cruz Cordova's taking up space and dismantling and disrupting the entertainment business because he thinks he's doing that for some reason. That's his prime mission, as he says. His nonsensical character that was made up won't be remembered after the first year of this season. People will forget him immediately. And it's not just him, it's the whole, it's all the showrunners. It's the entire staff over there at, you know, the Amazon production house that is putting on this show. Because they are so focused on themselves and not the craft and not the respect and not the nobility or the honor of what comes with creating something like this. They're so much more interested in just disrupting and taking up space. Get the fuck out of here, man. It's so pathetic. But that's what we get now with actors and actresses, right? Like, that's what we get from Hollywood now. He says he has no problem doing that. And then you guys all remember these interviews. Come on. Do I even have to play this? Harley Dave, what's going on, man? He goes, down with the patriarchy. Yeah, because we are the patriarchy, man, apparently, just because we exist. Oh, well. Dr. Rachel for $5, she says, Lord of the Rings was respectfully adapting Tolkien for film. Rings of Power is egocentrically adapting Tolkien for self-insert fantasy and identity politics. Bravo. Bravo. Well said, Rachel. Well said. Well, Josh is back. Disregard my last send-off, brother. Welcome back. But yeah, just answer the fucking question. Yeah. Oh, 300 mirrors. He doesn't speak for us Latinos. Good to know. Thank you. Classic activist speak. Disruption. Occupy spaces. Yeah, it's definitely, it's cringy. It's super, super cringy. Instead of creating something original or putting it in the work, make something great. Yep. But hey, Harley, Dave, great to see you, man. Always a pleasure to have you in the chat here. But yeah, no, I won't play all of these. Hail to the great nerdrotic Gary, and hail to Quarter Black and Perry Chan who put this edit together. I won't play all of it, but we get, you know, you guys have seen this plenty of times.
Female dwarf that we will ever see on screen. Woo woo woo.
Woo 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 woo.
Reflects much more of our world.
And it just continues to go on for, you know, the next 2.5 minutes or something. Yeah, 2.5 minutes. It's just
Today,
this.
Right, and has some modern sensibilities to it. Talk to me about like why that's necessary, obviously, and important, obviously, but like it's not
Necessary, obviously, important, obviously. Remember how I was talking about earlier how the interviewer wasn't giving Viggo Mortensen any softballs? She was basically like giving him hard-hitting questions. This guy is just stroking off the egos of each one of these people in the fucking room, just being like, obviously, this is a fucking good thing, and you guys are like the best fucking people ever, and blah, 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 blah. Fuck off, man. Get a spine and actually ask some goddamn questions that fucking mean something. You know what I mean? Look at the face. Look at everyone's face in this interview. They just don't want to fucking be there. They do not want to be there. Okay. Chat is very against me playing this video, so I'm going to stop there because I know that would be, it would be too much for you guys. And I love you, chat. I don't want to have to put you through any more pain than you've already experienced. But yeah, isn't that interesting though? How wild is it that we can go from like, literally like, what? It's been 2 decades since the trilogy, and probably since that interview with Viggo. And look at how different the language is. Look at how different the priorities are within film, within media, within the craft of acting, of storytelling in general. Oh well. Yeah, you're welcome, Rachel. Now everyone can have that clip out of context, but well, let's look at some Silver Surfer, shall we? Give me 1 sec, guys. I'm going to turn on the light so we can get some more light here, so you guys can see the actual book, and then we'll get into it. But Rachel says nobody is going to clip. Oh yeah. Harley says the first rule of spineless dishonesty: explain how you are correct before making any statement. Yeah. Is the glitter streamers in the background to distract from his inability to do his job? Well, it looks like it. They should have hired taller actors. Alinda Latal is 7'11" and Isildur is 7 feet tall. At least cast above average height, guys. Seriously, man. I mean, like, they could have at least done something that was somewhat accurate, right? But what they like to do is they like to pinpoint and take little things from the books, like, you know, oh, we'll put Narsil in the background, or we'll put like a mural of Beren and Luthien, and make all the Lord of the Rings like stands clap and be a bunch of seals. But in all actuality, it's like, that's not actually furthering the plot. It's not giving us more character development. They're just member berries and Easter eggs. So they're kind of picking and choosing what they actually want to put in the show. Where did that go? All right. Oh, didn't want to do that. There we go. All right, give me 1 sec, guys. I'm going to go turn on the light, and I will be right back. Ooh, all right, let's see if that's better. Can you see me now? Michael Scott, I need teepee for my bunghole. The Great Cornholio. Oh, I love Beavis and Butthead. Hey, if women want 6 feet tall men, I would say that producers probably also want 6 feet tall men. That's just, I feel like that's only fair. All right, can you guys see this all right? So here is Silver Surfer Judgment Day. I'll read kind of the little beginning. It says the Silver Surfer as you've never seen him before in this startling issue. Marvel breaks the barriers of the graphic novel format. Now, for the first time anywhere, each and every page is a full-size illustration, truly a feast for both the eyes and the senses. Glitter makes everything better. So... Oh, right, Rachel? Yeah, that's what's so interesting is like the tone and questions, like you said, between the Viggo and Diza interviews are so different. Love to look at research for that too. Absolutely, right? Very interesting stuff. So, Silver Surfer Judgment Day, script by Stan Lee, of course, because Stan Lee was extremely passionate about Silver Surfer. Whenever Silver Surfer came up, Stan Lee was like the first one to be like, no one's writing him. I am the only one who gets to write him. For the longest time, Stan was the only guy at Marvel who was able to write Silver Surfer because he wouldn't let anyone else touch his baby, which makes sense. I understand that. John Bushima on art, Max Scheele on colors, Phil Felix on letters, Ralph Macchio, editor, and Tom DeFalco, editor-in-chief. So yeah, this is the first print. This is the 1988 book, graphic novel, if you will. But this intro by Stan Lee says, it's all John Bushima's fault. He wanted to create his own Silver Surfer story, and he wanted to illustrate it his own way, using only one illustration to a page. Marvel's editor-in-chief, Tom DeFalco, and Silver Surfer editor Ralph Macchio undoubtedly caught up in an infectious frenzy of creative daring-do, gave Big John their blessing, and so the project was born. So let's get right into this story. Sights no human eye can see, I have beheld. Sounds no mortal ear can hear, I have heard. Emotions no earthbound soul can feel, I have felt. For I have soared the endless streams of space, I, the Silver Surfer. Yeah, man, look at how beautiful these pages are. Not all the wonders of the cosmos can free me from the memory of Shala Ball. So if you guys don't know who Shala Ball is, that is Silver Surfer's love interest. So before Silver Surfer became the Herald of Galactus, he was indeed Norrin Rad. Just a simple gentleman, just a kind, fair lad on a planet far, far away. And he sacrificed himself to Galactus to become the Herald, the rider of the spaceways. And in doing so, he had to give up his love, Shala Ball. And so he still loves her and is in still search for her. And so that's why he says, not all the wonders of the cosmos can free me from the memory of Shala Ball. But she is lost to me forever. And so I roam the distant skyways, ever stirring, ever searching, knowing not why or what I seek. Oh, sorry, that said... ever striving, ever searching, knowing not what or why, or not knowing not why or what I seek. But hold, what wondrous spectacle now greets my eyes. Oh, Silver Surfer has a few little biddies that he's come to see. Let's see what you guys are saying. Hot off the presses, Italy has shown up in droves and voted in their first female prime minister in its history. Take that, bigots. Thanks for the information, Harley. I did not know that. My parents are janitors for my church and admittedly insist that glitter should be illegal. It is the STD of the craft world. That is funny. I could not imagine trying to clean up glitter. Oof. It's so nice to see Stan's name on something. Right, Lone Star? Dude, bringing it super back. I have this book. It's so lush, gorgeous art, and great story. Amen, Jay. That's what I'm saying. This is one of my favorite Silver Surfer stories. But yeah, you get kind of that... you get almost like paintings on each page, right? Because they're full page art. So, I don't A warp in space, but never has a mystical portal guarded by 3 such beauteous beings. They speak, their words drift gently to my ears like the soft caress of the snowflakes in the breeze. So they're like kind of guiding, they're kind of like mermaids almost. They're guiding him into this this portal. They're like trying to engage him. And then they turn into these like hideous, disgusting, grotesque like trolls. Seize him, bind him, destroy him. He is ours. He has not the will for battle. He must not escape. The master plan cannot be denied. But Silver Surfer, when he sees these women, he goes, "Too long have I journeyed and too far. Too much have I seen and too little learned. But one thing I do know full well. The grander the gift, the greater the price to be paid." So he kind of like understands, like, maybe I shouldn't go into this portal here. Throughout the galaxies, it's ever the same. There are always those who mistake the longings for peace as a sign of weakness. But by my power cosmic, these 3 will mistake it no longer. Just blasts them to hell. And then we see Mephisto sitting in his on his throne, in his realm. The Prince of Darkness. Again, he has escaped me, he says. Again, the deadly plan of Mephisto has been put to rout, but what does it matter? In the chess game of life, time is ever on my side. I have the whole of eternity to which to scheme. I love like his lair. It's I don't know. It looks like, it kind of reminds me of if you guys remember watching Hercules, like the cartoon Hercules from Disney back in the 90s, like. And you had Hades, and you saw like the underworld. That's kind of how this reminds me, but with like a different color palette, right? Oh, this is a great shot too. Each one of these is so cool. I wish I had like a full page, or like a full artist page, like without the color, to see like the sketches and the inks and everything. And then Nova comes around, and Nova is gorgeous in these. She looks amazing. The figure of both of them, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if John Bushima took this. It looks almost like the statue of David, like how he's posed and everything. It's so interesting, but I love how he's posed Silver Surfer. He's not this like super jacked, like massive human being, but he's extremely fit and almost like a sculpture. Nova says, "I sensed your aura and flew to you." This is a great shot. A sudden burst of dazzling light. So young, so lovely, so brimming with life. I was lonely no longer. Oh. Brings a tear to your eye, considering the fact that like Silver Surfer is one of the most lonely people in the Marvel universe, that his soul, like his entire being, his longing in life is to not be lonely. Like, that's so sad. And that's why, like, I don't know, I really like Surfer because he is more Shakespearean. He's like this hopeless kind of heartfelt individual who knows that like he's just destined to kind of surf the spaceways forever, like longing for purpose, longing to be loved, longing to be with people who love him, and yet he knows that can never be his true fate. It's super sad and very interesting, like what type of dynamic that is, but and then they decide to race. I'll show you that I don't need a cosmic board to be the fastest herald of all. So they decide to take a little race. He goes, how like the challenge of a light-hearted child, and yet now How welcome a contrast to my own brooding nature. See, that's the thing, is like even Surfer knows that he's like brooding and that he's more like of this kind of hopeless, desperate, you know, kind of, I don't know. He's definitely not optimistic. He's more of a cynic. Nova goes, just like a man. You think you're letting me win. Well, let me tell you, Mr. High-Flying Chauvinist, I can And then he says, she has found a morsel for Galactus, but there are signs of vegetation, of life. What will she do? So I think it's funny how, like, I don't know, Nova, even though she's like saying this, she doesn't come across as like haughty or prideful or like is like a bitch or anything. Like, this is how I would envision her speaking. So it like, I guess it fits within the story. It fits within the character. And she's not actually telling Surfer that he's like some misogynistic pig. She's saying like, I think kind of like playing with him a bit because he's kind of letting her win, you know? I don't know. It is an interesting dynamic between the two of them, though. Cajun says he's calling it a night. Good night, Max and chat. See you next time, and hope y'all have a good week. Yeah, thanks, man. You do the same. Take care, brother. Have a great rest of the night, and we'll see you soon. This is another great page. I like this one a lot. And then we bring in Galactus now. Are you guys do you really think that Galactus is going to make an appearance in the MCU? In the MCU? I don't know, man. They're saying that like Fantastic Four is about to happen and all this stuff. And if that's the case, then we most likely will see Galactus and Silver Surfer. But I'm very, very afraid of what they would do if they bring in Galactus or Silver Surfer. That would be horrifying. We have a super chat from Rudy for $4.99. He says, Silver Surfer is way underrated. He could carry a movie. If the script is well done, Semper Fi, oorah. Agreed, man. Semper Fi to you, my friend, and thank you for the donation of $4.99. I think that Silver Surfer could definitely take to the screen and be the protagonist of his own film. I think people, it would take a bit for people to warm up to him, but I think once they knew his power set and knew kind of how underrated he was, I think he could really carry a movie, and that would be beautiful to watch. I would really want them to almost kind of do a Guardians of the Galaxy thing, not humor-wise, don't get me wrong. Silver Surfer is not humorous. Do not put humor in a Silver Surfer film. But in terms of like galaxy-wise and showing like space and just how broad and massive and expansive like space is, I think that would be cool to see in a Silver Surfer movie if they ever did something like that. But I don't know. So I think Mephisto captures Nova or something. It's been a while since I've read the actual book. It looks like Nova is talking to Galactus and trying to get him to stop consuming or devouring this planet. He says, you speak to me of mere emotion. When I hunger for substance, I'll hear no more of it. To the skyways with you, Herald. Find me the planet I crave. Yeah, look at that figure. Oof. Nova's got a figure on her, eh? Yeah, Mr. Arvidas is hopefully not as a cloud for real, as a purple fart cloud in the sky. You're definitely going to see both of them. That's what I'm afraid of, Josh. And I don't want to jinx anything, but do we really think they can do any worse than what Fox did with the two of them? Yeah. No, I guess you're not wrong. I mean, I haven't seen those films in 2 decades, so yeah. Something like that. One of me is enough. The world wouldn't handle an army of them. Oh, is someone saying that there's an army of me? Ooh, nice. Harley celebrates 5 months of a membership. Ooh, spicy highlighted message. Hell yeah. Dude, thank you for your 5 months of membership. That is so fucking rad. Harley, what do you think about me doing a Space Marine helmet for 6 months membership? Would you guys be down with that? For like a membership badge? Because I have all the helmets. You know, I have Viking, Spartan, Templar, and then like a Space Marine helmet at 6 months. I think that would be kind of cool. So let me know. I wouldn't trust current day Hollywood with an adaptation of this, but I'd still love to see it if they did it right. Absolutely. So we get some more of Galactus. But if you guys like I said, if you guys can see, it's so much more different than just your regular comic, because normally each one of these like would be subject to like one panel. So, or to multiple panels. So, you know, say you split this in half and this would be 2 panels. You can maybe make this like, you know, 2 extra panels down here, and then maybe this would be 1 large panel of Galactus or something. But instead of doing that, they just plastered the whole thing on the page and made it more of like a painting. So the story is told just through these like 1 large paintings. I think this is like one of the only pages though that we see like as I'm talking about that, we see kind of panels here. But for the most part, I mean, this was the first of its kind to really do this style format of comic book. Harley, I can't actually wear a Space Marine helmet, but I would be able to put a Space Marine helmet for y'all's badges on YouTube. I wish I had a Space Marine helmet. That would be badass. I love this depiction of Galactus, though. Like, you really get the sense that he is just absolutely massive. Like, his head is the size of planets. Like, that's freaking rad. And then I also like just the colors in this. Like, you get like some blues, almost like a light blue, like purplish. You get the red, orange, and yellow from like these explosions. And then the bright white of Nova. Yeah, there's just like so much and there's a lot happening, but you can still focus on something. Like, your eye isn't just like scrambling all over the page. Like, you can still focus on Galactus or Nova or the spaceship or like Galactus's spaceship. Like, things. Oh, maybe a little bit of Kirby Crackle here. I'm seeing some Kirby Crackle, boys. But yeah, no, it's super rad, because I never feel like anything is too chaotic. Like, everything has its place, especially like even this page. Like, your graphic design 101 is like basically designing pages and logos where like your eye can focus on something, and especially here, like our eye is focused solely on Silver Surfer here. Yeah, Arvida Black Templars for sure. Those are my favorite, dude. This much detail looks perfect here. It wouldn't work in a 6-panel page. True, Lone Star. I think if you did do a 6-panel or like even just a 4, like even if it were just split into 4 or something, it would lack that amount of detail. So disappointment intensifies. Roman of the Empire celebrates 5 months too. He says, I love the layout. It also reminds me of how the frames in Earth X and Kingdom Come are set up. Yes, dude. Kingdom Come is very reminiscent of this for sure. No Smurf nonsense. Oh, come on, Jay. Ultramarines are the best. What are you talking about? Oh, here's another great page of Surfer. Yeah, like I said, see, his figure isn't like, he's not shredded to the bone. I think like there are a lot of more, there are artists who will design Surfer with this like crazy amount of striation in the muscle. But I actually kind of like this more simplistic tone of just a good figure, like a more of a statuesque type of form. But yeah, tons of color here. Oh, look at that Galactus face, dude. And so the fight goes on. Is conscious weakness? Who can say? Whether weakness or not, my indecision gives Galactus time to espy the conflict. Espy the conflict. The planet devourer is not amused. The surfer, he attacks my golden herald. To dare defy one who serves Galactus is to challenge the will of Galactus himself. And the will of Galactus must not be defied. Dude, Galactus is so badass, man. Yeah, he's so rad. You wouldn't, and the cool thing about this page too is, X-Ray Agura. Hello, X-Ray. What are you doing over here? I thought you were on a stream tonight, but always good seeing you. Hello. One of our favorite X-Ray Agus. One of the most sought-after producers in all of YouTube, by the way. Everyone say hi to X-Ray Girl. But yeah, one of the things I really like about this book is that in any other like Silver Surfer comic, if they were to try and make this Galactus like that imposing, it would it wouldn't have the same weight, it wouldn't have the same effect because it's on this huge ass page. It's like this, it takes up the entire page for the panel. And granted, they could do like a splash page, but I don't know, this just has so much more weight and effect to it. It makes him very grandiose, right? It's weird to see Max in a circle instead of a square. Should I put it back to the square? I don't know. I think the circle is nice. It's just a little, nice little circle of my dumb head in the corner here, so it doesn't affect the book. But yeah, X-Ray, I hope you're having a good time at IRL work. Boo, boo, IRL work. Once again, another great display of like Galactus's power and just how gigantic this dude is. It is ended, though I have lost, I know I have won, for I have saved the planet. So my once and former Silver Surfer has tricked my Golden Herald, thus depriving me of an anticipated planetary repast. You knew full well that your powerful cosmic blast striking the terrain below would alter the chemical composition of the land, making it unfit for my absorption. Though you bear the guilt Nova too must pay for being so readily deceived, I condemn you both to remain here till such time, if ever as it shall please me to return and restore your powers of flight. And then Surfer says, again I must suffer the pain of exile, bearing the additional burden of guilt for the fate of Nova as well. But what a small price to pay for the sparing of a world. Aw, Josh. Josh says, I like Circle Max. Thank you. It's cool. It's just different. Thank you, X-Ray. Okay. We'll stick with the circle then. We'll do the circle. Now, so they make completely different panels for these, or are they just different views cropping of the other books? No shape shaming. One of my coaches in college, I think it was, he says he was a bigger guy, he was a hefty guy, and he goes, hey, I'm in shape, because circle's a shape, so I'm in shape. He was a little bit more round. I thought that was a pretty good dad joke. I like that. So Harley, as far as, because you were saying, so they make completely different panels for these, or are they just different views cropping of the other books? So this is its own book. This is its own graphic novel that was created by Stan Lee and John Bushima. And essentially what they did was, instead of having panels at all, they created just one-page layouts. So instead of having a panel of like Mephisto here, and then Silver Surfer here, and then the two of them here, and then a big action scene here or something, they just had these large, graphic novel pages of these action sequences. and that's how they told the story, as opposed to having panels on each page individually. They now have just one large panel telling the story that normally like 10 panels would do or something. I don't know. But it's all in the foreword. Like, it's in the introduction. They talk about it here. So if you guys do want to pick this up, I'd highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite Silver Surfer books. It's just been a while since I've read it. I know not the purpose of human destiny. I know not for what reason I exist in the grand and mystic scheme of things. But one thing I do know, now and forever. So long as my life endures, so long as blood still courses through my veins, I will act as my heart and conscience dictate. I will harm no fellow being and will behave to all as I would have them behave to me. And if such acts should cause me woe, then with pride shall I bear the burden, secure in the knowledge that I have done my best. No man can do more. That is why Silver Surfer is the best, one of the best Marvel superheroes in the entire universe. That's what makes Silver Surfer great. Hey, what's up, Shieldwall? Good to see you, man. X-Ray says, I'm going to be a size queen, but I want Max bigger. He's too small on the screen next to his hands. That's funny. Yeah, I guess the hands do look kind of out of proportion for my size. Oh, how about that? Is that a little bit better? Maybe? Because I can do it real time. We can do this. But I think probably this is a little bit better. You don't want it too intense. You guys see my dumb face way too much anyway, so. I'm going to be a size queen. That's funny. I want Max bigger. I've heard that before. If I had a penny for every time I heard that. Roman says, gotta bail, Max. Good to see you again. I'll catch you around the interwebs. Absolutely, Roman. Thank you for being here, brother. I really appreciate you. I know it's a Sunday night, so yeah. A pleasure. Always good seeing you. Take care. Have a good rest of the week. Jay says, that's my favorite page. Yeah, this is like what he says in this page is so rad. It is like classic Surfer. Better. My eyes are becoming like Gary's. X-Ray, you need your size like 300 font on your phone. Good to be here. My computer was broke for 3 weeks. Oh shit, Shieldwall. Well, hey, glad to have you back, dude. And then we get Mephisto coming back. So Silver Surfer actually has to deal with two technically villains. I mean, like, because Galactus, I think you would say, is a villain. But yeah, he has to deal with both Mephisto and Galactus. So Mephisto zaps him, gives him a little zap here, which is another great page. But he says, lie there helpless and weak while you contemplate the death and destruction your obstinance shall spawn. Is your own pitiful soul worth the lives of untold millions? Is that then the decision of the cowardly Skyrider who will do harm to no fellow man? Oh man, the writing in this is just like chef's kiss, dude. Like, where is the writing in modern storytelling? Like, this is what we need, dude. It's very Shakespearean, very like biblical, you know? Smile a while says, good night, Max in chat. Work comes early tomorrow morning. Oh, Smile, have a great time at work. Sorry you got to get up so early, but thank you for being here tonight, and I hope you have a great rest of the evening. Ooh, look at Nova. Whew. That is a striking image. Ladies. So then Nova calls on Galactus, and she goes, the only way that he can beat Mephisto, or the only way that Surfer can beat Mephisto, is if they allow Galactus to come in and defeat him. So I think Galactus comes in and tries to devour Mephisto's planet. Yeah. Oh, that Kirby crackle again. Look at that. Two monster villains facing off in the battle for their time. I am Mephisto. Only one has the power to defy me. and next to him you are less than a smoldering cinder in the furnace of the damned. I am Galactus. I am power absolute. I answer to none. I am the was and the is and the yet to be. I will have my herald. Damn, dude. Could you guys imagine what this would look like on a big screen? Or like having the same dialogue put into like a Cinemax like movie theater? That would be incredible. So then Galactus claims both of them as his heralds. So he takes Silver Surfer and Nova from Mephisto. And then I believe he lets Surfer go, it looks like. Now go, you Surfer, the final chapter is yet to be writ. Nova leans forward as if to speak, but no words come. I understand, there is nothing more to say. I will wait and watch till the great ship is lost from sight. Then I mount my board. The past is done, the future beckons, excuse me. Many are the miracles of the sprawling universe, and unending is their wonder. And for this one brief moment in eternity, the skyways are mine. There you go. Silver Surfer Judgment Day. Like I said, one of my favorite Surfer stories. I haven't read it in a while, which is why I was still kind of trying to remember like what actually happens, because it's been probably a year or two since I last read it. So, but it's a great book. Like I said, I'd encourage you guys to pick it up. It's pretty cool, and it's super unique. Like the fact that each page is its own panel, I think is really cool. It's Chewy for $5 says, shout out to all of my top 10 crushes and what's up Max. Dude, thanks Chewy, I appreciate the $5. Yeah, shout out to all those top 10 crushes. I'm pretty sure we've got a few of the Fellowship ladies on your top 10 crushes. So the modern dweebs would have no idea what they're saying. Exactly, man. That's like that's what's so sad is like you look at this like older storytelling and the dialogue between some of these characters, and you just really realize how far we've come in the wrong direction, right? Hey Punk Waddle says, howdy everybody. Howdy to you, sir. Evening. Hope you're having a great night. Well, that is about all I've got for you guys tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm glad that y'all got to see that Aragorn interview and share that with me, because I found it a while ago and I've just been waiting for a good opportunity for me to share that. And I thought that now would probably be the best time, considering that like Rings of Power has been so difficult to get through. And it just speaks to like the differences between the actors then and the actors now. You can't even really call them actors now. You can call them activists, but that's the unfortunate part, is like they feel that acting isn't good enough anymore and that their craft isn't well respected as much. So they have to like do something more and be these activists, because if you look at their Twitter account, they will say activist before they say actor. And, you know, they think that they're trying to save the world, and what are they doing? They're putting something on Twitter, or they're, you know, are they actually doing anything that's going to make the world a better place? Are they actually putting their money where their mouth is and donating to maybe organizations that might not have the money or might not have the funds or the willpower to do something that's really actually beneficial for the world? They don't actually care about these causes, but they know that it's popular, and they know that it's like, you know, the hip thing to do. So they all want to be activists now, and they forget what their sole job is, which is to be an actor, which is to be an entertainer. So that's why I really enjoyed the interview that we saw, and the interview that, you know, unfortunately came later with the Rings of Power series. But quality content tonight, Max. Great stream. Thank you, Jay. Yeah, I always try and bring the best. I almost said the breast content, the best content, creative content I can bring to you guys. I do love breasts though. I mean, maybe I have breasts on the mind. I don't know. Thank you for the stream. Really interesting topics we touched upon. Thank you, Rachel. Yeah, I agree. I think tonight was another good one, another great one for the books, and it's all because of you guys. You guys seriously make this a lot of fun. So thank you for watching and enjoying. Rings of Power just straight up sucks. Period. Yeah, Shieldwall. I could tell you all the reasons why it does, but I agree. It won't hold up in the long run, though. Eventually, it'll all change. We'll see, 300. We shall definitely see. I don't know. I'm more cynical. I don't know if I should be holding out hope. But maybe one day. Maybe one day. Until then, we can enjoy the things from the past, like Silver Surfer Judgment Day from 1988. We can enjoy our Lord of the Rings trilogy back from the early 2000s. There are plenty of things that we can enjoy from the past. And that's why Gary always says, the past is the future. Like, it's beautifully said in simplest terms. The past is the future. And I look forward to looking back on more of the past. So Paul says, good night, all time for this dwarf to go to bed. The mine horn sounds early tomorrow. Hey, my Khazad-dûm boys, where you at? Shout-outs to Khazad-dûm. Have a great night, brother, and have a good week at work. Max is bringing the boobs, says Josh. Of course, man. I got breastises too. I'm a thick dude, so with 3 C's. Shiny breast content. Rachel says Max is a boobs guy. Boobs or butt? I don't know. That's a tough question. God created both to be like literally perfect. So I don't know. That's. You often bring the breast content too. Okay, good. That's funny. I approve of Max's interests, in case anyone was curious. Hail. All cheers to that. The breast content. Alright, guys. Well, I'm going to go get some Panda Express, a little chow mein, a little fried rice, a little orange chicken, a little Beijing beef, some Panda Express. Chow that down, throw that down my my frickin' pie hole. Get this paper done, and be done with that assignment for the week, so I can move on, start studying more, and I can get this Rings of Power episode 5 review out for you guys. So I am going to try and work on that this week, so you guys can have that as well. But thank you again for hanging out tonight. It is always a pleasure to be with you guys in the man cave, in the Max's man cave. It's always a pleasure. Good night, guys. Have a great week. Enjoy your week. Yeah, as always, reject modernity and embrace your legacy. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.